Voiced Radio audience. It's time for that fiercely educational show. You already know Humanity 3.0, which has been rated as high as the second most listened to online radio show on the planet. Humanity 3.0 is sponsored by Prometheus. Prometheus' mission is to spread the trivalent understanding noetics, created by Dr. Kwaku L. Carlisle Woods, RN, MD, Met D1. This show features stand-up philosophy that includes comedy, culture, anthropology, science, history, psychodrama, and music, usually self-performed and produced by the Hip Hop Trio through Prometheus Reborn Universal Foundation and Global Entertainment. The genre used on this show is called edutainment, educating while entertainment, coined by KRS-One. The hosts are Dr. Kwaku L. Carlisle Woods, RN, MD, Met D1, and myself, Dr. S.C. Hamida Rockman Woods, M.E.D., Ph.D., Met D2. I have the P.H.
I have the M.
We
both have D's. That makes us Doc².
The title of this remarkable show today is Pardon Me, Pink People.
Yes, indeed. Now, before I go on any further, I would like to let everybody know this is our last show on voicedradio.com. We have a new platform, and we're going to be doing a new show called Ask Doc. We've already shot the pilot, and that will be forthcoming in the future, very soon. Okay.
And if you'd like to know when it's going to air, just text us at 216-375-2742.
That'll help. The Hip Hop Trio Plus, we're going to be busy. We got Ken Ferguson Saturday, February 26th from 4 to 8 p.m. That Soul Award. And if you want to get tickets to that, call 216-235-8167. That's 235-8167. Okay. COVID.
Yes.
COVID has decreased hospitalizations and deaths, though 2,000 people are dying a day. And 100% of those 2,000 people who are dying are non-vaccinated. That's why I call them stupicidal deaths. It's not ignorance, which means not understanding. It's stupidity, which means I don't want to understand. And when you end up killing yourself because you don't want to understand, yeah, that's stupicide. Okay. It's our last show. And again, it's called Pardon Me, Pink People. Why? Because my job, my purpose, my reason for existence is to teach pink people. That's why I exist. I don't know anything other except that pink people are living in a fantasy that most don't share. And I'm talking about history, biology, anthropology, genetics, and science. They don't share those things with the rest of humanity. As a result, they are running afoul of all the rules of those disciplines and therefore opposed to God's purpose. Because God set up the rules for all of these things, biology, anthropology, genetics, science, history. Yeah. You see, according to the Judeo-Christian book called the Bible, the Torah, and even the Quran, when God created this reality, he/she first made all things. Then God isolated several groups of beings before mixing them in what scientists call hybridization. Genesis 6th chapter, 1st to the 7th verse. I'm going to start at the 4th verse. But 1st to 7th verse is when God started hybridizing human beings. The 4th verse says, there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men. The same became mighty men. These were called the Nephilim. And this was the first hybridization that God did between sons of God, daughters of men, two different species. The Nephilim were indeed giants. and they were very, very mighty beings. So mighty that the Most High could not control them. And therefore, the Most High destroyed them with the flood. It wasn't about saving Noah. It wasn't about killing evil mankind. No, it's about destroying the Nephilim. After that, God decided to hybridize just humans. Forget sons of God. But first, you have to isolate one set of humans to use as your reference species so all others can be measured against. So when you combine this group with others, you can tell if you improved that group, disabled that group, or did nothing to your reference group. God is working from a set of principles and rules that are encoded in the reasonings behind science, biology, history, and the newest science of mankind, noetic science. Now, noetic science, I'm a member of the Institute of Noetic Science. At least I was last time I paid my dues. Noetic science is the science of faith, belief, and intention. It is not religious.
Created by Edgar Mitchell.
Yes, the astronaut Edgar Mitchell. It, again, is not religious. It is the foundations upon which all religions are founded. How does your will work? How does your faith function? How do you take what you intend to be and turn that into your reality? Those are the principles of noetic science. And the trivalent understanding noetics gives you specific tools to use to elevate your being above that of a normal person. Instead of being a regular human being, you're turned into a meta human being. Okay. The noetics teaches you that the strongest portion of your being is your spirit. Now, almost everybody knows, again, knowing is emotional, spiritual, you feel what you know. Everybody knows that human beings are made up of three pieces: a material body, a totally immaterial spirit, and a partially material, partially immaterial portion called a mind. What we try to do is to help you to understand not just what those things are, but how they function. Okay. We teach you these things to allow this trivalent being to become the best being they could be. The strongest part of your trivalency, spirit, mind, and body, is your spirit. Your spirit enables, protects, and it visualizes. When you close your eyes and imagine, you visualize inside yourself, that's your spirit that's doing the visualization. Your spirit commands your mind. Your mind cannot consider anything, think anything, compare anything that your spirit doesn't visualize. And the visualizations that your spirit gives your mind are the basis for its functioning. Unfortunately, the Roman Catholic Church took over the spiritual development of Europeans and forbade them from visualizing the whole of mankind's history and allowed only visualizations of European history. Now, you must understand that short-circuits European spiritual vision by the vast majority of humanity. We'll get into that a little bit later, but unfortunately, when they decided to narrow European spiritual vision to only Europeans' portions of existence, mankind came out about 1.5 million, 2.5 million years ago. Let's average it out at 2 million. Europeans were about 50 to 65,000 years ago. Let's give Europeans 100,000 years. That means that for 20 times the length of time that they have been here, they ignored all of humanity. They ignored all of the medicine, pharmacology, astronomy, architecture, geometry, mathematics, and everything else that was created by mankind prior to their existence. That not only limited them terribly, it made them very fearful of all these other things that they couldn't try to understand. The Roman Catholic Church said, no, you can't study any of that stuff. And that is the dictum that most Europeans followed even until pretty much right now. They created a world, a culture that was only limited to what Europeans did, what Europeans understood, what Europeans learned. Okay, again, that's 50 to 100,000 years versus 2 million. And that's about right, because this is about 20 times more than this. And this they ignore and only focus on that. Yeah. That not only not makes any sense, doesn't make any logic, reason, or spiritual understanding available for these people. But again, we can't complain too much. They trained us to be who we are now.
Yes.
They stopped us from using our spirit and our imagination to grow. They did not educate us at all. Education means you're taught you, because all of those answers came from Alkebulan. But hey, what can we say? This is the world we live in.
Yes, it is.
And the Hip Hop Trio got a song all about that we're about to do for you right now called This is the World We Live In.
Yes.
This is the world we live in. You can choose to transcend it. This is the world we live in. You can choose to transcend it. This is the world we live in. You can choose to transcend it. Life has a purpose before we even came to existence. Everybody had a mission that we said we had to do. Beg the Most High to come back so that we can serve and fulfill what we said we here to do. But no, life isn't easy like that. We came into this world with a bunch of challenges, but luckily enough, the Most High got us blessed, giving us a grace that we naturally possess. So why do we sit around acting like we don't? Got so many gifts that we naturally own. We get here for greater things, we can feel it in the soul. Gotta go deep, gotta search the unknown. This is the world we live in. You can choose to transcend it. This is the world we live in. You can choose to transcend it.
Taught to obey, given paths to follow, not based on you. It's all kind of hollow. Your own understanding is best for your being. It's all about knowing. It's all about seeing you. The God sees the best. You believe it's all in your hands. Don't be deceived.
Well, I got a few questions, cause I really been guessing. What would you do if you really knew you? We're on a mission,
Teaching you to listen,
Make images of what you hear.
listening to spirit,
not mind,
It hears it, forgot what I feel.
not mere.
to the power of you, release.
This is the world we live in. You can choose to transcend it. This is the world we live in. You can choose to transcend it. You can choose.
Yes, this is the world we live in. The creator of that song is Michelle Kendall, aka Shelly K.
Hey.
Background singers, KK, which is Kenya Kendall, her sister, and of course Dr. Kwaku L. Carlisle Woods. This is co-writer, and he's singing as well. And I'm one of the background singers, Essie Bessette.
No, you sing a lead, girl.
Oh, I do. The rap, y'all. Yeah. That's
She
right. I
dropped a
gotta
few
remember that.
bars on y'all. Dropped a 16 on you.
To learn more about the Trivalent Understanding, go to hashtag Woke and In Tune on YouTube. And you can also give us a call for a free introduction at 216-375-2742.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get back to what we were talking to. What we were talking to was the narrow spiritual vision of pink people. Okay, and it allowed only visualizations of European history and development, leaving science, math, geometry, medicine, pharmacology, history, anthropology, and astronomy out of spiritual sight and out of the minds of most European people. Like Galileo and other early scientists were ridiculed, tortured, and sometimes killed for entertaining ideas such as history before pink people are the most evil of all ideas, dun 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 dun, to the Roman Catholic Church. Reason. They didn't want nobody using reason. They forbade the discussion or teaching of logic or reason as evil, preferring revelation, which they controlled, as a means of understanding. As a result, Europeans didn't think well. Illness is a balance of red, yellow, green, and black humors. That's what they thought. Bleeding heals illness. That's what they did. They cut open folks and drain a vein. And they did this up until the 19th century. You see a barber pole that's got red and white stripes? That's because that's where people used to go to get bled. Alkebulan is full of, they said, no. Alkebulan is full of savages who developed all, these savages developed all of the sciences, geometries, and understandings before pink people ever existed. And discussing that existence, you could not discuss that existence at all. I waved a scientist. I watched a scientist from Europe state that 50,000 years of European existence was primarily populated by war, disease, famine, and struggle. But that is exactly what their spiritual vision showed them. But let's look at the numbers. Okay. Mankind started in Alkebulan, as I stated before, between 1.5 to 2.5 million years ago. Let's average it out to 2 million years. Pink people started as a cross between the original Alkebulanese and Neanderthal humanoids, who were actually white. Pink people are pink. They are not white. Neanderthals were actually white. That's how pink people got to be pink. About 50 to 65,000 years ago. Let's say, again, like I said before, 100,000 years ago for simplicity. Then let us compare 100,000 years to 2 million, 20 times more. Now compare those two peoples, 100,000, 2 million. Which is going to be more mature? Which is going to be more developed? Which is going to be more immature? Childish. Which is going to be less developed? Again, add the restrictions of no written language until the Romans taught them writing, which the Romans got from the Greeks, who proudly proclaimed they got it from Alkebulan. A word on that. Writing means that you have to work your spirit more, because writing means that you have to look at symbols and make pictures of what those symbols mean in your spirit. If you have no writing, you don't get any practice in doing that. So your spirit gets kind of neglected, to say the least. But take all of that and you have an ignorant culture whose word of mouth lessons were primarily regarding war, physical strength, bravery, avoiding famine, disease, and death. When you add the Roman Catholic Church injunction against learning and reasoning, you have a people who are not only ignorant, but stupid. They don't want to understand. Understanding has been taught to them as evil, sinful, and you'll go to hell if you use reason or understanding or any of these things like science and biology. You could not try to find out how human being functioned. It was against the Roman Catholic Church laws, and many people were burned alive by trying to find out information that the Roman Catholic Church said, no, that's evil. No, it's called knowledge. It's not evil. And that's who we're following? No wonder we're suffering from stupicide through disease, through stupicide through lack of health care, and stupicide through the following of ignorant, intolerant, frankly, stupid, immature, childish leaders. Line 44.5.
Yes.
Who have no moral, spiritual, or religious guidance. But let me be clear regarding what I said earlier about pink people not thinking well. That is a statement that in the English language has several different meanings. First, it means that pink people don't think, contemplate, or consider effective, efficient, or deeply. Who are the historical great European thinkers? Not Greek or Roman, European. Who are the great thinkers? Who are the people who are out there pressing for knowledge and understanding? Huh? What? Can't think of any? Because there aren't any. But if I ask you a different question, as opposition, how many European kings and emperors, czars, and other royals who were good at war, conquering, or subjugation of others? King Henry, King Philip, I can name you from Napoleon on back. Queen Elizabeth, Queen Ferdinand, that's what they did because that was all their spiritual vision allowed them to focus on. The other meaning revolves around the meaning of well as opposed to sick or injured, in danger, at risk. Europeans are constantly worried about being in danger, at risk, in peril, or the victims of some catastrophe. Right now, Vladimir Putin is getting set to kill a bunch of Europeans over his fear of being isolated, attacked, or negated by NATO powers. And from that fear, he thinks he should attack and destroy others. Sound European? Just like pink people. Is that thinking well, or is that thinking fear, danger, destruction, and obliteration? But again, that's what pink people have been doing pretty much forever. They don't have very much of a humanistic or a empathetic nature. They don't feel others' emotions. That's called being empathetic. They don't really give a damn about what others feel. That's why Nazis could starve and torture several million Jews to death and not feel a thing. Not be regretful, angry, sad. No, I'm going to do it because that's what I'm supposed to do. And that's what I've been doing. This way of acting, I have called on many occasions humanal, because it's not humanistic. It is not those aspects of humanity that we wish to foster, support, or imitate. Don't bring me your problems. I'm concerned. Don't ask me to be sympathetic. I'm not going to do it. Don't ask me to help you. That ain't my nature. Now, strangely enough, there was a guy who looks pink. He's not. Named Rag and Bone Man. He came out with a song called Human. In that song, he describes how pink people think. He tells you, don't ask me for nothing. Don't ask me to be sympathetic. Don't ask me to be helpful. because those are your problems, and don't you try to get your problems solved with me. That is the most humanal song I have ever heard. And the Hip Hop Trio Plus changed it just a little bit, and we call it Humano. Peep this.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this, see what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying. But I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Take a look in the mirror. What do you see? Do you see it clearer, or are you deceived by what you believe? I'm only human after all, and you're only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Some people got the real problem. Some people out of love. Some people think I can solve it. Lord heavens above. I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Don't ask my opinion. Don't ask me to lie. Then beg for forgiveness for making you cry. For making you cry. I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Oh, some people got the real problem. Some people out of love. Some people think I can solve it. Lord heavens above. I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. I'm only human, make mistakes. I'm only human for the day. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. 'Cause I'm no prophet or Messiah. You should go looking somewhere. But I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. I'm only human, do what I can. I'm a woman, do what I can. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Yeah.
You know, there are the better parts of being a human being, exercising your humanity, learning the 4 parts of your being, which is done by the Khan, and I learned from my remarkable husband the importance of understanding them. 4 parts: Mojida, your mother's side of the family, that is the one that gives you your body, your blood. Then you have your Entoro, that's your father, that is your principles and your values. Then you have your Sum Sum, which gives you your purpose, that's your mother's mother, your grandmother. Then your Okra, that is your God-descending energy, which is your father's mother's father. Try to give yourself some time with yourself, because only you can understand you, your own understanding.
Absolutely. That was so well said, baby.
Wonderful.
I want to expand just a little bit on what my wife just said. Understanding you. Learning you. Y.O.U. Your own understanding. That is education. And that is what the United States of America nor any European power actually passes down, teaches, enables. Not at all. Your understanding is about you understanding you. Who are you? Ancestor, I'm sorry. You're a descendant from ancestors that go back to the first human being. What are you? You are a trivalent being composed of that spirit, mind, and body that I talked to you about. Where are you? And I'm not talking about GPS or address. I'm talking about the spiritual and emotional things that have taken place in the place you live or reside. Because those things are going to affect that place and affect everything in that place. And if you are unaware of those things, you are being motivated and manipulated by forces, again, you are unaware of. Last but not least, when you are. When you are always is and always will be now. We're not talking about then. We're not talking about when. You are always now. And that now dictates that things need to be done in the now. What things need to be avoided in the now. What things need to be structured in the now. Once you understand and have learned what you are, who you are, where you are, and when you are, you will almost automatically determine why you are. Your purpose becomes just about crystal clear once these other understandings of you have been processed. Now, I need to make one explanation, and that explanation is the difference between understanding and learning. Learning is when you practice what you understand until it becomes a part of you. And that's how human beings have functioned since the beginning of time. You first understand something. You can think about it. That means you can talk about it. That means you can write about it. But understanding is very, very temporary. You have to practice your understandings until they become part of you. And once they become part of you, you have learned what you now understand. Early today, my wife and I were talking to a brother out in Vegas.
Yes.
Okay. He's going to take the Trivalent Understanding Noetics course. He's going to take that course because he is getting ready to marry one of our students who has already been through the Trivalent Understanding Noetics. And she requested that he get that same understanding. She has that understanding. She doesn't have a learning of it. She has a pretty good understanding, but she doesn't practice that understanding on a regular daily basis and make it a part of her daily habits so that it becomes part of her living. I hope that auditing her significant other's class will allow her the opportunity
And the
to
support.
and yes, most definitely, and the support. Thank you, baby. To go back and learn what she understands. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Now, we got about that well thing. Thinking well. Pink people have almost never thought well. And again, I keep harping on it, but it's been at least one of the roles of the Roman Catholic Church that anything that was associated with happiness, pleasure, enjoyment was poo-pooed by them and said to be sinful, if not directly evil. You could not enjoy sex. You could not enjoy food. You could not enjoy living, according to the Roman Catholic Church, unless you were a Roman Catholic Church elder, or bishop, cardinal, somebody like that. Ever since the beginning of the Roman Catholic Church, they have been caught and accused over and 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 over for almost 2,000 years of having sexual orgies with nuns, sexually abusing women and children, being not only drunkards and drug addicts, but gluttons.
Humanos.
Yeah, who overate, overdrank, overspent, over everything, and put it on the church. Well, the church says I need to take care of me like this. Well, the church says, and the bull cookies. The guy that the church is supposed to be following, this guy named Yeshua ben Yosef, he talked specifically against all of those things that the Roman Catholic Church seems to have as its backbone for all of its higher levels of office. Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King Jr., Martin Luther and his, I think it was 59 theses that he nailed up against the wall in, it wasn't Germany, it was Austria, mentioned all of these things, as well as the Roman Catholic Church habit of allowing people to pay money to get to heaven. It was called buying a indulgence, purchasing an indulgence. So with the right amount of money, you go to a priest or a bishop or a cardinal and you give them that money, and that pays for any crime or sin that you will commit. And it's supposed to be paying for a ticket to heaven. Well, again, European skinny vision of reality, heaven was a place you could buy. Heaven was a place you could purchase. And you could avoid anything that would stop you from going to heaven by paying the Roman Catholic Church. That narrow field of vision that they instilled on Europeans made them warp the religion that they practiced, taking both as gospel, pardon the pun, and as truth the fact that all of these people that they were said to emulate and worship in the Bible were Europeans. Pardon me, that lie just ain't gonna get past anybody who reads and understands history and or geography. The only Europeans in the Bible were Greeks, and there were very, very, very few of them, and the Romans, who actually killed Yeshua. Everybody else was not only not European, they were Alkebulanese. Question, y'all. Where did Yeshua ben Yosef grow up at? Nope, wasn't Bethlehem. That's where he was born. He left right after he was born. Where did he grow up at? A place called Alkebulan. Europeans call it Africa. That's where he grew up at. Because his father Joseph got a dream the night that he was born that Herod was out to kill them, and he took his whole family to Kemet. Yeah. How could a pink person who's trying to hide from a ruler hide in an Alkebulanese country? All you have to do is say, where's the pink person? They say, there he is over there. No, he went there because that was a good place for them. They could blend in and be like everybody else because they were Alkebulanese, just like the other Alkebulanese in Alkebulan. Roman Catholic Church made quick work of that truth and turned it into a lie that they plastered all over the walls, all over the statuary and every place else. Okay. They made a lie of most of the religion of the Bible. One of the things they did not make a lie of was praying to God. But they did not have very much understanding about prayer or God. Any higher being has a responsibility to all those who worship them, that when you call on that higher power the right way, and that means with thankfulness and appreciation, as well as something called faith. That higher power has to be there, has to arrive, has to show up, has to do whatever is necessary to make that faith valid. Now, believe it or not, there's a guy from Akron, Ohio, named James Ingram, and another brother from St. Louis named Michael McDonald that came out with a song pretty much like that. And the Hip Hop Trio does best job we can on this song called Yamo Be There.
Up and over, Yamo. Ya. Be there.
We got a caller?
3.0. Hey, Carla.
Carla, I'm so glad.
Yes,
Oh,
our
you just
number
don't
one
know.
fan,
Number one
Madison.
fan, and this is our very last show on Voices Radio.
Yes.
I would not have felt good unless she called.
Yes, appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you at our show, well, our performance Saturday. Have a special seat for you and your husband.
Uh-huh. Gus.
Hey,
What's up, Gus? Lord bless you, my brother.
So pleased you joined us.
Absolutely.
You have any questions, leave it right there on Facebook. We'll be
We're
happy
going
to
to
reach
jump
out to
right
you.
on it. The Lord says the same.
Yes.
Okay. I'm a doctor. So I have a kind of different way of looking at everything. I'm also a registered nurse. That kind of reinforces this medical healer thing that I am. And what do I think is the solution to these non-well thoughts? Why death, danger, and destruction for all of those pink people fear? As an RNMD Met D1, I diagnosed the disease of hate and fear based on race. Hate and fear based on race is called racism. Pink people have inherent racism because they are pink. Pink is a recessive trait. Anything that doesn't have the normal coloring that is associated with a species is recessive. And recessive, as any characteristic is, it simply means that any dominant characteristic totally eliminates the recessive. So you mix a pink person with an Alkebulanese, what comes out is Alkebulanese. A pink person with a Hispanic, what comes out is Hispanic. A pink person with an Asian, what comes out is Asian. You mix pink with anything and what comes out is anything, not pink. And pink people have known this forever. This imparts a fear that we are just now starting to feel the real dredges of. Yeah. Ever since we elected Barack Hussein Obama to be president, the fear and racism of pink people all over this planet, but especially here in the United States of America, has been triggered. They feel like they're being eliminated. Okay, I ain't got no problem with that. You're supposed to be eliminated. You're supposed to have a purpose of, we're going to get to in just a second. Why the disease of racism and hate feels some of these pink people, especially a lot of them here. Let me back up just a little bit. DNA USA, published by the Oxford University in England, says 100% of people who think they are pink that are born in the South actually have sub-Saharan Alkebulanese DNA. They actually have DNA from Alkebulan, which makes them a hybrid. It just makes them a very low degree hybrid. But that is the purpose of this place called America. My purpose is to propose another path for humanity, not the one portrayed by pink people. Open your spiritual vision to include all of humanity and accept your role in the furtherance of humanity's purpose, which is to grow, mature, combine, and develop into the unum God planned from the start of mankind. The unum. The unum are what's left when all of mankind mixes and combines. That was supposed to happen here. It has happened here. And the people that we are producing now are better than any human beings that have ever existed. Pink people's role, your role, pink people, was to expand the reach of mankind to envelop all of humanity and allow for the hybridization that is happening all over the planet. The millennials don't have the narrow view of that their forefathers did. And the genes that they have is the genes of the E pluribus unum, the original motto of the United States. E pluribus unum, from many, one. From many races, from many countries, from many people, from many cultures. Our country was to develop one people, one race, one culture. That's what's happening, and it's scaring the hell out of right-wing pink people like Line 44.5. And they're not talking about it. The KKK will talk about it. All of these right-wing hate groups will talk about it. They talked about it when they went down to Charlottesville and said the Jews will not replace us. That's what they're fearful of. It continues the direction portrayed in Genesis and will allow humanity to see more, think better, and mature as a species and as a being. We are 5-level beings, 5 levels. We are composed of cells, which combine to make tissues, which combine to make organs, which combine to make organ systems, which combine to make the organism that is humanity. But we can get above that. We can attain 6, 7, or even 8. 6 is you don't think of yourself as a black, white, green, yellow, American, British. No, you think of yourself as a human being. 7 is you think of yourself as part of life. And 8 goes even beyond that. If we attend to our purpose, our history, and our biology, we will achieve these forms. Now, I'm telling you about things that ain't coming. They're here. They're right now being dealt with all over this planet by everybody, whether they understand it or not. My goal is to get you to understand it and to get you, pink people, to understand your essential role in creating what God has planned for this place called Earth since its very foundations and formations. This is the last time I will be signing off for you. And I have to say, with my lovely, wonderful life, may the Lord bless you and the ancestors continue to
bless you.
Peace, which stands for proper education, always corrects error. And again, it ain't coming. It's already here. So people, get ready.
Yes, hip hop trio. Plus.
Ooh, 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 ooh. 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 Ooh, 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 ooh.
People get ready.
For the change is coming. You don't need no baggage. Get on board. Ooh,
You need is faith.
to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket.
Thank the Lord.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh.
So people get ready.
For the change in Jordan, picking up passengers, coast to coast. Ooh,
Faith is the key.
and the doors
people all among the most.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner
Who will hurt all mankind just to save his own.
just feel it's your pity on those whose chances grow thinner.
For there's no hiding place against the kingdom's throne. Ooh, 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 ooh.
So people get ready, there's a change a-coming.
You don't need no baggage,
You just get on board.
all you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket. You just thank the Lord.
Use your faith and just
Thank the Lord.
with appreciation, you
Thank the Lord.
with gratitude, just then.
Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord.
Oh, you made it to the end of the video. Well, I am tired a little bit differently. I'm dressed as Baba Amwa. If you would like more of your own understanding, like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
And go to the sites that we have listed around us. The Most High is good.
And the ancestors are kind
Thanks
for having us on your minds.
Peace.